fully trained and finished dog from a professional, or just don't get one at all. And Epstein didn't kill himself.
All right. So we all know Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. Everybody's looking at the Clintons for it. And, with rightfully so, everybody should be probably looking at the Clintons for it. But the truth of the matter is, is that there's a lot more to this story in the background that we're not looking at. And Project Veritas today dropped a video showing that ABC reporter Amy Robach did an entire investigative expose on Jeffrey Epstein and the people who he was hurting and the young women who he was using, and complete with interviews and the whole nine. And ABC executives canceled it and said, no, we're not doing that. Let's check out the video.
Would you raise your right hand, please?
Yes.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you?
Yes, I do.
First of all, I was told, who's Jeffrey Epstein? No one knows who that is. It was unbelievable what we had. Clinton, we had everything. Then the palace found out that we had her whole allegations about Prince Andrew and threatened us in a million different ways. I've had the story for 3 years. I've had this interview with Virginia Roberts. We would not put it on the air.
That's tape leaked to us by our latest network insider. This brave insider works at ABC News. ABC News anchorwoman Amy Robach is talking to her producer on a hot mic. She says she had the Jeffrey Epstein story 3 years ago, and her bosses at ABC News spiked it.
And then Alan Dershowitz was also implicated in it because of the planes. She told me everything. She had pictures. She had everything. She was in hiding for 12 years. We convinced her to come out. We convinced her to talk to us. It was unbelievable what we had. Clinton, we had everything. I tried for 3 years to get it on, to no avail, and now it's all coming out, and it's like these new revelations, and I freaking had all of it. I'm so pissed right now. Like, every day I get more and more pissed because I'm just like, oh my God, what we had was unreal.
Our insider told us this tape was recorded earlier this year in late August, a day or so after this NPR report came out sharply criticizing ABC News for not broadcasting the Robach Giuffre interview years ago.
ABC has episodically covered the scandal, yet the interview was never broadcast, and Giuffre says she was never told why.
Other women backing it up. Hey, yep. Brad Edwards, the attorney, 3 years ago, saying, there will come a day when we will realize Jeffrey Epstein was the most prolific pedophile this country has ever known. I had it all 3 years ago.
But the creepy thing is that we would make access to all of these high-profile people.
Well, then I got a little concerned about why I couldn't get on.
On the leaked insider tape, Amy Robach says she had the Jeffrey Epstein story 3 years prior, but her exclusive interview was shelved. Robach says in the leaked tape there was a lot of pressure from Buckingham Palace. According to NPR, the famed lawyer Alan Dershowitz also pressured the network to kill the story.
Shortly before the interview was due to air, Harvard Emeritus Law Professor Alan Dershowitz called the network. He was also one of Epstein's lead defense attorneys.
We wonder if the story was killed to protect the rich and powerful. It seems few were worried about protecting the women who may have been Jeffrey Epstein's victims. Remember, Epstein was still a free man 3 years ago. And just to be clear, the interview has still not aired. What is ABC News waiting for, or who are they still protecting?
She told me everything. She had pictures. She had everything. She was in hiding for 12 years. We convinced her to come out. We convinced her to talk to us. It was unbelievable what we had. Clinton, we had everything.
Robach also has no doubt about what happened to Epstein when he finally was arrested and jailed.
So do I think he was killed? 100%. Yes, I do. Because he made his whole living blackmailing people. Yeah. There were a lot of men in those planes, a lot of men who visited that island, a lot of powerful men who came into that apartment.
When I heard he was found dead, someone was lying.
I knew immediately. And they made it seem as though he made that suicide attempt 2 weeks earlier, but his lawyers claimed that he was roughed up by his cellmate around the neck. That was all like to plant the seed, and then that's why I really believe it. Like, really believe it.
The last of the leaked tape has Robach talking about alleged Epstein conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell and how she should be very careful.
He's got to have left evidence, like, in the, unexplained.
Well, Ghislaine Maxwell, who I had all sorts of stuff on her too. I love it. I'm like, it's so funny to hear everyone say her name now, because I'm like, oh my God, like, I had all this, and everyone was like, who's that? Who cares? I kept getting that. Who cares? She knows everything. She should be careful. Well, she was his, like, she went out and recruited all of these girls.
Stand by.
She should watch her back. Because if she goes, I mean, I'd have like security guards all around me.
The brave insider who leaked this tape to us does not know who at ABC News spiked the story, but someone at ABC does. Our question: who killed the Epstein story at ABC News and why? Help us find out. James Goldston is the president of ABC News. What did he know? And when did he know it? Here's the landline number for ABC News President Goldston and his Twitter account.
Well, I went through and searched a little black book for Goldston, and he wasn't in there. But there was a whole bunch of people who were. All the celebrities who were in Jeffrey Epstein's little black book: Bill Clinton, Barbara Walters, Prince William, Bandar Bush, right? The Prince Bandar, which I don't know if any of y'all remember who he is, right? And all these individuals who most of the time, most people would have no idea who they were, but it most definitely put pressure on the powers that be. Now, I don't want to be the individual standing here running through with conspiracy theories and all this reckless nonsense, but let's be honest and truthful about things, okay? Our governments, especially our intelligence agencies, the CIA and the FBI, have been interfering on news media in such a large way that it's really getting to the point where it's kind of really sketchy. And it's been going on much longer than individuals think. Remember when the news did its job? Ain't that nice when they actually do what they're supposed to do? Justice Department looking at alleged CIA ties to communism. December 17th, 1993. A lot of y'all weren't even born yet who were watching this video. The Justice Department said Friday it is investigating allegations the CIA used a front company run by the commune to train the agency employees, and the CIA blocked investigation of the group. The CIA denied any ties to the commune called the Finders. Justice Department spokesman John Russell said that the Justice Department is looking into allegations contained in the Customs Service document sent to some of the members of Congress. CIA spokesman David Christian called the charges ridiculous. He said the alleged facts are wrong and any implication the CIA obstructed justice is outrageous. Conspiracy stories abound and they often grab headlines in the tabloid press, but this is one of the weirdest we've heard. The Washington Times reported Friday that the CIA had ties to the Finder, a Washington-based group once accused of engaging in satanic rituals, child abuse, and pornography. The charges were raised in the 1980s by law enforcement officials, but none resulted in prosecution. Christian said Friday the CIA went to some of its employees to a company called Future Enterprises Incorporated for computer training in the 1980s. But the spokesman said the CIA did not know about any connection between the company and the Finders. He added the company was in no sense a CIA front or ever owned or operated by anyone for the CIA. It's strange that you're not denying that there's CIA fronts out here, right? Like, you know, this has been normal for a long time. Joseph Marinich, vice president of the Future Industry, said the company has trained CIA employees in computer use and continues to do so, but has never been a front for anyone. He said, "I'm shocked and appalled at the allegations," he said. "This is stuff that I could never have imagined." Marinette said the founders member, former Internal Revenue Service employee Robert Garter Terrell, worked for the company before he was let go in February 1987. That month, the finders gained notoriety when 2 members were accused of sex abuse in Tallahassee, Florida. The men spent 6 weeks in jail before a judge dismissed the charges. Police at one time had called the finders a cult that might be practicing satanic rituals, child abuse, and pornography, but former District of Columbia Police Chief Maurice Turner said the department found no evidence of criminal wrongdoing. Metropolitan Police Officer Robert Garisto declined to comment on Friday. The Customs Service documents that have prompted attention to the alleged CIA finders tied include an April 13, 1987 report by customs agents who reported in raids on the finders' property in Washington and Virginia. The agent sent the documents to members of Congress and has pushed for an investigation, officials say Friday. The Washington Times reported that the agent provided documents suggesting the CIA was blocking investigations of the finders by the FBI and the District of Columbia Police. Right? Like, and this is, an agent for the FBI is actually doing this. The newspaper also said that a police document of February 19, 1987 quotes a CIA agent as confirming that his agency was sending its people to a Finders Corp Future Enterprises for training in computer operations. Wow! A later customs report said the CIA admitted to owning the Finders organization as a front for domestic computer training operation that it had gone bad, the newspaper said. The Customs spokesman Bill Anthony said Tallahassee police contacted Customs about the group during an anti-pornography crackdown led by them Attorney General Edwin Meese III. We were totally tangential to all of this, said Customs. And Customs dropped the matter when it found no Customs violations, Anthony said. Nobody asked us to shut down the case. This is an AP article. All right, from 1993. These people, the Associated Press, they do their job. Like, legitimately, there's not many individuals who would call the Associated Press conspiracy peddling, fear mongers. They're not the type. All right, they're not one way or another. The AP and the Associated Press forever have been a bedrock, all right, as far as being able to stand here and know what's really going on. These are the individuals who will bring you reporting from around the world, and it will literally just state facts, as it just did. It did not sit here and bring you any type of right or left-wing spin. This isn't about, there was no presidents mentioned, no cabinets, nothing. There was no, it was Reagan, it was Bush, it was, Clinton, none of this, all right? And this is why, I wanted you to fuck. So with that being said, and I wanted to show you that the FBI and CIA have no problem covering up for pedophiles, especially when it benefits them. These individuals here, all right, when Epstein died, he was not found for 3 hours. He was on suicide watch, was being guarded by 2 people, one of whom came directly from, I think, the Justice Department or the Attorney General's office, and it wasn't even his job. This guy also, both of them supposedly fell asleep on the job, which almost never happens. So, with that being said, why is it that the news media did not cover this? And why is it that we're getting all of our news from people like me? I wonder. Well, which brings me to Operation Mockingbird. Operation Mockingbird is an alleged large-scale program the United States Central Intelligence Agency that began in the early 1950s and attempted to manipulate news and media for propaganda purposes. It funded student and cultural organizations and magazines as front organizations. According to writer Deborah Davis, Operation Mockingbird recruited leading American journalists into a propaganda network and oversaw the operation of front groups. CIA support of front groups was exposed after a 1967 Ramparts magazine article reported that the National Students Association received funding from the CIA. In the 1970s, congressional investigations and reports also revealed agency connections with journalists and civics groups. None of these reports, however, mentions by name an Operation Mockingbird coordinating or supporting these activities. A Project Mockingbird is mentioned in the CIA Family Jewels report compiled in the mid-1970s, according to the declassified version of the report released in 2007. Project Mockingbird involved the wiretapping of 2 American journalists for several months in the 1960s. right? This was all about the Cold War. This was to stand here and, try and defeat communism and, whatever the case might be. It started during McCarthyism and things of this nature, right? And it ended up, getting to the point where they were literally paying for journalists to put out things that they wanted them to say as far as, positive for United States national security things, stuff of this nature. So, but it's gotten down to a whole different point now. We're at the level now where literally the CIA is being hired by the news. The news has them on the fucking payroll. Guys like John Brennan are over here every day on CNN as a contributor paid. Andrew McCabe, Phil Mudd, again, another CIA spook who is used by CNN to come out and talk trash about the president. Andrew McCabe, former head of the FBI. The news was supposed to be watchdogs for us to make sure that our government didn't overstep its boundaries. And at this point, the news is literally hired the individuals who they're supposed to be watching. So at the end of the day, who killed Jeffrey Epstein? No one's ever going to know. But I can tell you, if you want to stand here and know who killed that story, I'd look to Alexandria, Virginia. It's Tom Pease with Pinoid News. Peace.